Hi, everyone, and welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. On this station, you're going to find content about park travel, as well as living a healthy lifestyle. This is the Healthy Lifestyle Show, and today is Travel Tuesday. I have a great guest for you, and I can't wait for you to meet her. My name is Kay, and on this show, I offer you encouragement to live the life you love, and she's going to do the same thing. Our guest today is Jamie from Cornfields and High Heels. Her About section of her blog says, "Hi, I'm Jamie from Cornfields and High Heels. I've grown up a Midwest gal living among cornfields of Indiana with love of big cities and skylines. I'm now navigating life in the Indianapolis area as a traveler, pastor's wife, mom, stepmom, and blogger. This little corner of the internet is where I indulge my taste of great food, a desire to explore the world, and passion for sharing my faith, all while raising teens, a blended family, and homeschooling." So, guys, I want to let you know that I met Jamie on a fam trip or familiarization trip to Ottumwa, Iowa. And I just fell in love with her energy. And I can't wait for you to fall in love with her energy too. So please welcome Jamie from Cornfields and High Heels. Welcome, Jamie. It's good to see you.
Hello.
It's great to have you here today.
Yeah.
I just love that you wanted to be on the show. I was so excited when you said yes. So thank you for being here.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I just want to get into the questions, and if folks that are here at the premiere have questions, they can ask those too, and we'll get those answered for them. So, my first question is, how did Cornfields and High Heels come about? That's not your normal blog name.
No, I do get asked that a lot, specifically because of like the name Cornfields and High Heels. It's a little bit unique. So I actually did not start out as a travel blogger. I started out as a food blogger, and that has evolved into mostly traveling now, actually. But I've always loved to travel. I remember going on my daughters were on a spring break. Gosh, I'm going to say this was 8 or 9 years ago. They were pretty young then, and I was a single mom at the time. And I decided to kind of take them on this like road trip just across the Midwest in like 5 days, like with no real plan or anything, but just to kind of like explore. And everybody was like, well, why would you do that? Like, you don't have a plan, you don't have really a destination. And I just kind of thought it'd be fun. And so kind of ever since then, I have been doing a lot more travel than I probably would had I not, had a desire for travel, but also had not like started my traveling with that like little spontaneous road trip. And so ever since then, I kind of have been a foodie. So like I've always loved to explore like the food scene of like new cities and locally even. And so first traveling came with like a desire to like explore new restaurants and independently owned restaurants and stuff like that. Coffee shops, that's my thing, is seeking out coffee shops. And then it's just kind of turned into now like family traveling, solo traveling, and couple traveling.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. I know you love coffee shops. I was really excited in Ottumwa to hear about the coffee shops before I got to go. Between you and Tim,
yes,
walking tourists, I was all set. I was like, okay, I can go there, or that's what I'm going to get when I go there, or whatever. So that's awesome. So there are 6 of you in your family, and several of those 6 are teenagers.
Yes.
So I read lots of blogs, like mommy blogs, about traveling with toddlers or with young children. But what are some of the tips you would offer for traveling with teenagers? Because they're a different beast altogether.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there's, like you said, there's 6 of us, and 2 of them are teenagers, and 2 of them will be teens soon. They're preteens, tweens. They're so we have 4 between the ages of 10 and 15, almost 16. And when you get to traveling with older children, it becomes a lot easier because they're way more independent, but it becomes a lot more expensive to travel.
Okay.
You're looking at more space, like rooms to sleep in. You're looking at lots of major like food expenses for that age. So I'm about ready to post a blog about like money saving tips with families. And I focus a lot on budget traveling because we travel and we're always on a budget when we do. And especially with kids, these, older kids, because we're no longer in like the kids meal stage and we're no longer in the, hey, we can put a kid in a playpen or anything like, things like that stage for.
And since you like coffee shops, the kids probably do like them too, or at least have the thing that they want to order when they go to the coffee shop.
Yes. So, and you go to a coffee shop, it can be pretty expensive.
Oh yeah, you'd think coffee's cheap.
No, coffee's not cheap, especially if it's good coffee, and especially if you get something besides just a plain coffee. Like you can easily spend, $10 on 2 drinks, and so we reserve eating out and like coffee shops and that kind of thing to solo travel and couples travel. My husband and I do a lot of couples travel.
Cool.
Like weekends, short traveling, weekends, 3 days kind of thing. And usually within like driving distance. And so we do reserve a lot of that for like just us because with 6 of us, it gets really expensive. And the kids aren't like at a stage in life where they really are like foodies and like they haven't mastered the art of like appreciating like the finer things in life on like eating out. So or like, going to a fast food restaurant versus going to, a nicer restaurant. They've actually, they could do either or as long as they're getting fed, right? And so So one of the tips that I have for traveling with, older kids is that, well, we do pack snacks because like it's endless snacks, like especially in the car. We always pack snacks for the kids. Sure. And like
now, you mentioned that you have girls earlier. What's your mix of boys and girls?
Sure. So the boys are 10 and almost 12. And the girls are 14 and almost 16.
Oh, well, so the at least the girls are the older ones. Boys, when they get older, they really want to eat a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I feel like we're already there.
Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah. Depending on what they're eating, I feel like we are there.
I remember. Go ahead.
No, sorry. So really like the packing your snacks. And then a lot of times when we travel, we rent in like an Airbnb or we specifically look for a place with like a suite so that we have multiple rooms because we basically need 3 rooms or one like huge place that has 3 beds. We need 3 beds. And so usually when we get a place like that, there's a kitchen. So we're able to like cook our own meals, make our own, sandwiches for lunches and that kind of thing. But when we do eat out, we usually get pizza. Like that's super
that makes sense.
Family friendly, and like you can just order pizzas and that covers everybody. We usually have a no soda rule. Like we try to enforce not only because it's healthier for them, but because that can add up. That's super expensive if everybody gets like a drink. And then we also when we do use the kitchen at places, we can still like appreciate and enjoy like the local foods by say you're down south, you can always like that's where you can get like the good seafood, right? And so you can buy that from the local markets down there and use those for your meals and
fix it yourself. That's a great. Do you have any tips for activities? I know that I traveled with teenagers, but it was a bus full of 50 of them, and they did whatever I said because I'd already made the plan, or the travel agent had already made the plan. So, but when you only have a few in the car and you have different opinions on activities.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your tips there, maybe?
Sure. So for activities, we do normally have a wide range of, different wants and opinions. And we try to appease all of everybody's, wants and what they like to do if we can. So normally we'll like schedule out different things to do, but I'm also all about saving money for those activities. And I focus a lot on budgeting and like,
yeah, I love it.
That's great. and so I do a lot of research ahead of time. And I know not everybody has like the time to do that. But I guess that's what makes us travel bloggers, right? We like do the research so that we can offer that information to, our viewers. And so I do a lot of research ahead of time, and I utilize like discount programs like Groupon. Like that's one of my go-to places to look for like discounted tickets and activities. And then I look for insider tips on things to do in the cities that I'm going to. One example I can give real quick of that is that I can think of is in Chicago. So if you go to the, is it the Willis Tower? Is that what they call it now?
Yes, the Sears Tower, which is now the Willis Tower.
The Willis Tower, yeah. Like if you want to go to the top of that where they have the glass and all that, if that's your thing. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit scared of heights, but like I still like to go do those things and try to do them if I can. But it's really expensive to take a family to do that because it's the tickets are, per person, and I don't know what they are. They're probably around 18, 20, I think.
Oh, wow, that is expensive.
Yeah, that can really add up. But what a lot of people don't know is that the lounge, the restaurant lounge is the story right below that one. And you can go there and you can take your family. It is family friendly, and I think until like the evening hours. And then I think after that, it's 21 and up. And you can get a seat right by the window there overlooking the entire city. And all you have to do is they have food and drinks. So of course you want to get something because you're there visiting, but you can get some drinks, some snacks, some dessert. And it's even though those are more pricier at the lounge, it's going to be much cheaper than getting the tickets, to go to the top, which if you can do that, that's awesome.
Mind
blown. If you're a family of 6
Great.
And you can't afford that, rather than spending $100, go spend $50, at the lounge, and you're getting snacks. So.
And you get to do the thing. That's awesome. Yeah. Fantastic tip. All right. You all get a bonus today. See? Bonus.
I don't know if they still allow that, but as of like, I don't know if they still do that, but as of like 2 years ago, they did.
Just watch. They will have changed it. No. All right. You go and say, Jamie said. No.
Yeah. My husband and I do that a lot too for just the two of us if we're in Chicago. It's really romantic at night.
We do the same thing when we go to Vegas, the
Sphere thing.
Yeah, it's the one. I'll think of the name of it. Stratosphere. There we go. Mm-hmm. Stratosphere. So they've got a rotating restaurant.
Yeah.
But above that, there's like a food court.
Oh, see?
The rotating restaurant is really expensive. Really expensive. But the food court is only Vegas expensive. So, and you get to see out the windows too. And go
you get the same view, right?
It's all good. It's all good. Very cool. So anyway, good tip. That was a fantastic tip. All right. So I know the answer to this, but question 3, do you always travel as a family, and maybe give some differences between when you would travel as a family and when you wouldn't?
So we do travel as a family, not as often as we travel as a couple, but we do because of school and that kind of thing. Sure. But we do travel as a family when we're going on like a week long vacation somewhere. Our last trip was not quite a year ago, less than a year ago. As a family, we went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. It's a great family-friendly destination. Put that out there if you guys have never been. Tons of free stuff to do there also as a family activity-wise. But then my husband and I do a lot of travel together as a couple because our kids are older. Yay.
Yay.
there's more independence and ability to travel. And so we do a lot of weekend and 3, sometimes 4, that's usually pushing it with work, but day trips. And we focus mostly on like the bigger cities surrounding us. I live in an awesome location in the Indianapolis area. I've got Chicago, Lake Michigan, I've got Cincinnati, St. Louis, all Kentucky, the Smoky Mountains, all within like a couple hours to a day's drive. And so we have so much we can do. And so much we can do in so little time. So we reserve a lot of that for couple travel. But then we reserve like the bigger trips, like going to the beach or like a spring break or like a fall break or a winter break. We prefer winter and fall break travels because also more affordable because it's off season.
Yes. That makes so much sense. That's awesome. All right. So a little bit more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you've met some really interesting people on your travels. Yeah. Who is one person that sticks in your mind that you will never forget their story?
So we've met a lot of people, and for whatever reason, I think it's because I'm a pretty talkative person, but my husband, believe it or not, is even more talkative than I am. And so when we do a lot of couple travel, I feel like we have like the most unique situations we run into and people we meet. And I'd say the person who sticks out the most to me, this is nothing like glamour. We weren't like in like England or in Alaska or anything, but we were actually just in Chicago, speaking of Chicago. And we wanted to get pizza because we're in Chicago and that's what you do, right? And I like to go to Pisano's in Chicago. I've always enjoyed going there, and they weren't quite open yet. So we waited like, they're an hour behind us. So we were not, we were ready for lunch, and it was like 10 o'clock Chicago a.m. And so they opened at like 11, and we were like the first, customer of the day. And this was the downtown location, just across the street from the Bean there in Chicago. Okay. And our server was Uncle Chache, I think is how you pronounce it. I could be pronouncing that wrong. And we did not know who he was until he explained who he was. He's like Chicago's #1 like waiter.
Oh, wow.
And it was awesome. Like if you Google him, he's like all over Google and in the paper. And he's been working at Pisano's for like, decades. And so he was our waiter, and he was awesome. And he knows, like, I don't know if he's still there. This was about 4 years ago, I'm going to say 3 years ago, but he was like awesome. He told us all about Chicago. He told us his entire story and like, his history with Pisano's and that kind of thing. Pretty much like he's the guy you want to go to if you want to know anything about Chicago. And so we always tell our friends about him, and they were like, hey, like try to go see Uncle Chache. I think I could be pronouncing that wrong. Somebody can correct me if I am.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, he's always like so busy. And like, I think you got to go when they open. But yeah, so we got to meet him, and we got a picture with him and everything. Aww. And so probably the most unique person I've gotten to meet. Nobody famous or anything. Maybe
that's
famous.
Cool though. He's Chicago famous, so yeah. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a pronunciation correction for Jamie, please put it in the comments. We'll be more than happy to correct it or take your correction. It's all good. That's a neat story. I like it a lot. All right. So what do you like best about travel writing?
Sure. So like all the people I get to meet, like I just talked about, Chicago and that kind of thing, but just like it opens a door to meeting so many new people because before I blogged and wrote about my travel, I never like experienced what it's like to like actually ask questions and like seek out like answers to things and really want to get to know the city that you're visiting. So I meet so many people, and I learn so much more as a travel writer because I'm generally wanting to like seek out those answers. and I want to know about it so that I can share with others, the information and that kind of thing. So I would say, yeah, it's just, it opens your eyes to more of like the history in the cities that you're visiting, the people there, and the communities.
Cool. Awesome. That's what I like too. I love meeting all the new and interesting people that are out there, and they want to share about their communities and the fun things that they're doing too. So that's my answer. All right.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't have to answer it myself. What is the hardest part of travel blogging or being a travel blogger?
Okay. So the time. I would say that the time for me is probably the number one hardest thing about travel blogging. Probably because I still have kids at home. And I don't do this full time. I also have a slew of other things I do. And so I would say managing and getting the time to be able to travel, and then the time to be able to get writing done and pictures edited. And, if you're putting together a video, firsthand how much time that takes. But yeah, so the time, I wish that I had so much more time to be able to do more. And I know in the future I probably will, because, kids graduate, they go off on their own and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing's time for me.
Oh, wow. That's a nice hardest part. I mean, lots of people could say,
there are other hard parts.
My hardest part about travel writing is the writing. I spent 8 hours working on a blog just because I couldn't get it all. And then I sent it to my sister, who I call my editor and human Google. And then she sent me all these edits, and I was like, anyway, but it's the hardest part. But your hardest part is time. Which is every mom's hardest part, right? Every mom tries to figure out how to get more time. So,
but that's a good point though. Okay. The writing, I don't think that from like the outside, if I wasn't a travel blogger, I don't think I'd understand like all that goes into like even just writing one blog post. There's so much time that goes into that. But there's a lot of like mental energy. There's a lot of, I often get overwhelmed by it, and I have to take breaks. Like I'll have to, I'm like, step back. I need to step back from this and come back to it like tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. I just finished my blog on Atumwa food, and I was like, oh, I can't deal with this right now. I just can't be in this space right now. And, doing a video is kind of the same way, trying to write the descriptions for the video and pick out the music and all that stuff for the moods and things like that. So my YouTube community will understand that as well. So it's
definitely
a lot. And trying to do this as a part-time job and as a parent, hats off to you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Number 7, because we're running out of time. What is your dream destination or tour?
Okay. So I've been saying this for a long time, and I really want to go to Spain and do Italy and Greece and all of that. So that's my dream. That's international travel. It's something I haven't really been able to get into. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to get into that more. For me, it's because one of the reasons is because I prefer my time in the car more than in a plane. So
I understand.
I do like to fly short distances.
Yes.
So that one requires a longer flight. So and time.
You could go on a ship.
I could. That's another option.
That would be great. See, that would take way more time. But then the travel to get there is an adventure all on its own.
That's true.
I've planned it out for you. You're going on a ship.
You got it. That's a great one, Kay.
No, Spain and Italy. Oh my gosh, that sounds wonderful. That would be awesome.
It would, yeah.
So
one day.
Good dream trip. Do you mind if I show your blog really quick? Is that all right? Okay, cool. Let me go get that. It takes just a second. There's all this planning I got to do.
It's planning.
There it is. See, there she is. And here's your Atumwa post. I just saw your low carb Starbucks holiday drinks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's my stuff coming in.
Oh, yes. I also saw Black Friday deals.
Yep.
Those are good. And when I was doing my cookie exchange, I really thought about stealing your chocolate chip cookie recipe.
They're the best, Kay.
Somebody else was making chocolate chip cookies, though, so I went with pumpkins.
Hey, it's the season.
Anyway, I love your blog. You have great thumbnails. And
Thank you.
I love it. So everybody needs to make sure that you go check out fieldsandheels.com. And that link will be in the description below. And let's see. I will also have a link to your YouTube channel. And if you're in the premiere with us, folks, you can definitely, well, she'll be in the premiere if she can make it. So you'll be able to just click on her link and go from there. But Jamie, is there anything else you would like to share with our group before?
Just thanks for having me. This was fun.
Well, thanks for coming, and thanks for being a travel writer in the Midwest and for representing our area so well. And I'm so happy that I got to know you, and my life has changed because of you. So
same here, Kay.
Well, thank you for coming. And if you'll hang on, I'm gonna close out the show.
Okay, great.
Thanks. All right, everyone. Thank you, Jamie, so much for coming today. And I need you to do 3 things. I need you to check out Jamie's links down below. Go visit her and tell her you saw her on Happy Trails Hiking. Second, I want you to make sure that you share this stream with someone else you think would like to meet with Jamie. And third, go out and live the life you love today. And remember, you are not replaceable. Have a great day.